What does it actually take to write a song? Create something musical of your own. It doesn't necessarily have to be a song in the sense of a regular songwriter. It can be a little melody. It can be a bit of a composition that's purely instrumental. It can be a spoken word accompanied by an instrument, or even an AI-generated backing track these days. It can be a cover or remake or remix if you're a producer or DJ of someone else's song. What do we mean by song can vary, right? There's a classical piece on one hand, and there's a song as in terms of songwriting, sort of this typical singer-songwriter, guitarist, usually guitarist, sometimes other instruments style. And all of these categories kind of fall into the realm of composition, music composition. There's few pieces that you need to put together, a few fundamental ingredients you need to create something musical, to make a composition, song, simple melody, spoken word, whatever. So the first piece of the whole puzzle is an idea. Artists and philosophers have been arguing for years where such ideas come from. So, people have been talking about muse, like what is muse and how they give you these ideas as creative human individuals. Where do we draw from? And I'm not gonna answer you the question here fully, of course, but I'm gonna give you a little bit of flavor of how it feels, because these things are more felt than necessarily explicated by language. So idea can be pretty much anything. I walk on the pavement and I hear a construction site and I hear a huge drill, and I'm like, this is a really fast rhythm that I would enjoy in my playing. So I go maybe like this, or maybe higher pitch because it's a drill, and just go for it. So here you go, you have idea. Or I read an article, maybe it's a philosophy paper because I'm into philosophy, and there's a thought that inspires me to think of something I had never thought before. It opens me up to some new insights, some new perspectives that I had never seen. And now my challenge is how to formulate it, for example, into a lyric. Or maybe a complete lyric will come to me. Here you go, there's an idea. It can be quite vague as well. Maybe it's something that I overhear in a conversation. Famously, Mark Knopfler, when he wrote his Money for Nothing song, he overheard conversation of two, I believe it was movers, like guy who moved furniture or something, and they were talking about how they would wish to be a musician and how they would like to be on MTV and have their own band and just have money for nothing and chicks for free. That's the lyrics of the song. It can be a musical concept that you explore as a music nerd. You're exploring, I don't know, maybe a minor pentatonic. For the nerds, I've just wandered into a blues scale rather than minor pentatonic, but maybe that's what you're curious about and you want to see, maybe, can I write an interesting guitar riff on 2 bottom strings using A minor pentatonic? And I'm going to give myself this constraint and I'm going to move within it and just play based on those rules. So it's sort of like a game. Having an idea is sort of like a game, and it always comes with some sort of constraint that you can either impose on yourself or it can be implicit in what you're trying to do. So in this case, I would try and just play minor pentatonic. See what I did just there? And this could be a hook, for example, of a song. Just came to me like this. Now, important thing here is to be able to capture the idea, notice it. If I just did this, mindlessly like this, and then my head would wander away and I would be thinking about, oh, I'm playing minor pentatonic scale and it's kind of boring because I've already played it before. If I didn't have the curiosity of a child being like, I've played this thousands of times before, but maybe it's the rhythm about this particular case that's different. Now I can notice it as a separate musical idea and I can start expanding on it. So that's the number one thing, you need some sort of an idea, and it can be pretty much anything. I don't know where it comes from, but we draw it from some sort of unknown and it occurs, and we're here to notice it. That's our job as musicians. We're here to accept that call, to hear that call from the muse that's somewhere up there. Next thing you need is some sort of structure. You need a little bit of music theory, you need a little bit of music education, music skill perhaps, to be able to, within the craft you've chosen, which is in this case music, songwriting, composition, expand on that idea. So anybody can walk past the construction site and feel like, oh, this is pretty rhythmical, although musicians tend to notice that more often. That's true. But, you know, people can notice things and maybe they can pick up on rhythm. And so that's good, but it's quite useless if we don't have the skill and the knowledge to expand on that. So you need to have some skill and some sort of structure and knowledge. You can kind of hold the idea and put it on some scaffolding. You know, you need to climb up on the side of the building and start painting the windows or putting the windows in, or you know, building the house slowly and slowly in this analogy. So let's say I came up with this pentatonic lick. So I'm noticing, because I have some musical skill and I've written songs before, I studied, I practiced with metronome. I'm noticing the rhythm of this lick. And now I'm hearing this. This is my pulse. Okay, here another idea that comes from knowledge of music forms is that I could repeat that. That comes from knowledge of, you know, how to develop a theme, how to work with, you know, parts of music theme, how to work with repetitions and things like that. So now I'm taking the tools from my toolbox and applying them on that simple idea that I initially had. When I talked about the structure, that relates mainly to music forms, where music forms are basically the pre-written templates for songs and sonatas and symphonies and things like that. So there's harmonic recipes, what chords you can use and what chords go together and don't. That differs based on different styles. Like in jazz, you can use chords like this. If you did this in classical, they would look at you like you're a devil, you know, like especially in the past, there were like this interval, augmented fourth was forbidden because it was considered to be devilish because it sounded so dissonant. And then we developed, and religious fundamentalism kind of went away, and we started expressing through music in different ways. Like swing, for example, is this type of music that's kind of nervous and taking, reflecting the nervous mind. many thoughts, prevalence of language and prepositional knowing. And we started accepting different flavors of music. Metal, for example, is a huge, like, aggressive energy inside us, this animalistic energy that wants to be expressed. That's why they kind of shout and roar and scream. Okay, so now we have the idea, we put it on some structure. What else do we need to make a song? We need some medium to put it on, some kind of way of presenting the song. So it can be recording the song, it can be performing the song, it can be giving your score to an orchestra or a solo player or a songwriter or a singer to perform it for you. So the song is not alive unless it's actually being played in the real world somewhere, right? Unless the sound waves are actually hitting the air and then hitting human ears and affecting human emotions. You don't have a song, technically, unless this can happen, or there's at least a potentiality of this happening. So you need some media. So nowadays it's easier than ever to record yourself, even at home. The only thing you need is a simple laptop or computer, sound interface that actually transfers the audio signal into digital, and then you can work with the audio, cut it, edit it, chop it up, compile different tracks and different takes of your song and vocals and instruments, and creating arrangements. That's also a big part of making a piece, creating arrangement, deciding on which instruments will play what role in the song. So that's one way you can record stuff. You can perform it. You can learn it on your instrument. That requires you to know how to play or how to sing. Maybe hire a person to record you a backing track for you to perform at the open mic with a backing track. Or it requires you to go out there and ask someone to play with you. So all of these things can be done, and it's up to us to know ourselves, what we are best at, and find people with complementary strengths to help us achieve our musical dreams. And through those we can contribute to culture and share our music. I hope this is helpful. I hope it helps you to deeper understand what it takes to actually start making music, and that it's not as difficult as it might sometimes seem. And if you'd like me to help you with getting more in touch with your musical creativity, help you with songwriting, composition, and things like that, I coach hobby musicians and professionals of all sorts of levels. So if you want to explore how we could work together, just book a free consultation through the link below. I'm going to see you in the next video. Oh yeah, please subscribe and help me grow this second channel of mine. See you in the next one. Play, improvise, and make music.